It's not streaming. Okay, I think it is. I don't see it showing. Okay. Okay. So most times, most websites have different. Can you hear me? Can you
Yes.
hear me? Okay. So most times, most websites have how they are laid out. Do you understand? If you look at this entire W3 websites, right? I
Yes.
think is what they did here, Seth. This is the header. This top part you can see is like a header, but this is a navigation bar. Well, sometimes your header can be in your navigation bar. Do you understand? Or this can be a header. Do you get? You have menu by the side, which is what you have here. See menu. You have a menu here. You have the main, which is from this point to this point. Do you understand? It's like the main. This is the right where you have this ads. Do you understand? Then footer is now below. This is a footer. So most times you might have to build you might have to structure a page. Do you understand? It can take any form of structuring. Your page right now currently looks like this. It's just a one page. Do you understand? Nothing serious. We are going to transform it into this one. You can see this is a two grid page. I put it in two grid. If you go to emeraldzone.com, let me go to that website so that you will see. Aha. So this is another one. You can see this website. You can. This is more. Let me see. Okay, the website is still loading. But you can see the website is in section. This is a footer. This most times when you see this on a website is a footer. There's always a header and there is a footer. Do you get? So this is a footer. This is another section. This is another section. This is another section. Another section. The way this one is structured, self, you can use div to structure it. But look at this too. A div can divide a page into two for you, but when you have to put one here like this, this is a grid. Okay, hanging. Sorry, hold on. Okay, please hold on a second. I don't know why it's hanging. Yeah. So for this is their header. This is their navigation bar. This is their header. So it's just basically you can use grids to structure a page how you want it. And so that's what we're going to learn now today. So let me see if I can do that first one. Okay. This is a bit let me see if I can simplify it for you. Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's do this one. Because it's easier to learn with this one. Alright. So now this is a grid. Of course, I don't think there's any website that will have one side like this one side, but this is just to teach you what a grid layout is, right? And I'm going to go easy on you. I'm going to make it, let's just make it true so that you don't get confused. Okay. So just forget about that for now. So what you should know for your HTML, what you're going to do if you want to create a div, the first thing you want to do is to create a div, all right? Because you're going to put this grid inside the container. You can see there's a space here because you can see the grids are inside this container. Because you might want to have another thing under. Do you understand? And it's better to put it in a container. It's easier to style it when it's in a container. You can turn it in, you can go from this to this when it's in a container. Okay. So you open a div and put it in a container. You can see here they kept it in a class called grid container. I've taught you about classes, right? You know how they work.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So you put it in a class and then you put it in a container. Sorry, hold on. Okay. So after you have done that, you now want to, okay, let me just hope that you understand this. You can see that this is a div, right? Each container, each grid is in a container. This is another grid, and each grid will have its own class. The reason why it will have its own class is because sometimes you might want to style it differently. In this case, they're even giving them the same name. Do you get? So let me name this grid item 1, and let me name this grid item 2. All right. So basically, this is what, let me simplify it. This is what it should look like without the class. It's just after you have opened the div, you now want to put you see everything, all the grid you're going to write is going to be inside. Do you understand? So ideally, this is how it's supposed to be. You open a div and then you, sorry, hold on. Oh my god. Oh, okay. So ideally, you this is how you will get it. This is just the content of the grid. Let me use your name. It's just the content of the grid thing. If I should run this now, okay, so because I have um messed around with the styling, it's not showing. But you get the point that this is just the content that is inside the grid, right?
Yes.
All right. So, but you have to give it a class, and so I'm giving it. Sorry. So I'm going to give it a class. I'm going to give it a grid item 1. That's a different class name. All right. Let me put my name in here. So it depending on how many grids you want. For instance, and the grids appear in column. Now I just want 2 columns, right and left. That's why it's 2. If you want 3 columns, you're going to have a third div. Let me put a third one. Okay. Then we're going to call this one grid item 3, and let me call this director. Are you playing a game?
No.
Because it sounds like you're playing a game. So if I run this now, this you see that the 3 of them. Now I'll do 2, but I just want you to understand, okay? So after you have put all your grid inside the container, you can see all of them, the 3 of them are inside the container. They're inside this container. This is the closing div of that container. So that means 3 of them are inside here. Let me make it 2 because what you're going to be doing is 2, so that you have a better understanding. So the 2 of them are inside this container. So after you have done that, the first thing you're going to select is the grid container. You're going to add styles to it. So now, the first thing you're going to do, you have to tell the, okay, let me remove this. Let me remove the styling first so that you see how it looks like without the styling. Remove this. I'm just going to save it here. I'm just going to save it there. I'll come back to it. So if I run this, this is what it looks like. Okay. So right now, what the browser is seeing, the browser is just seeing a div and a class. It doesn't know whether you're doing grid or not. So you're the one that has to tell the browser that, oh, I want this to be in a grid version. Okay, so hold on. This class doesn't really necessarily have to be grid container. Sometimes you can just call it a container. You can always know that you can name a class whatever you want to name it. Do you understand? But we just like to call it container because it's in a container. So the first thing you're going to do is that you're going to select the container itself. Okay, this is the styling for the container. I'm going to remove that grid because I already removed it in the HTML. So the first thing, and I'm going to explain these styles one by one. The first thing is that you want to select it. You're going to select the container. Let me remove the grid. I've told you, when you want to select a class, you use full stop container. The first thing you're going to tell the browser, you're telling the browser now to display grid for you. That means this this code code that the browser is translating as just normal writing a div. Now you're telling the um browser that, okay, I want you to display it like a grid. All right. So if I run it, sorry, did I leave this thing as container? So why is it not displaying? Sorry, something is wrong somewhere. Hold on. Okay, so you have to put everything. All right, fine, I understand. So now you have told the browser to display it as a grid. Now, if the browser is going to display it as a grid, of course, you can see it here. You can see that the grid, this one is one, this one is one, two, three. So the browser needs to know how many columns am I going to give you. Know that these are columns. This one, two, three. They are all columns. This thing is called columns. One, this is column one, this is column two, this is column three. Row one, row two, row three. Like this, when it's going like this, it's a row. But if you're counting it like this, down to bottom is a column. So the browser needs to know how many columns do I give you. You see this thing you're seeing like this, it's from after you have done the columns, you cannot transform it into this. Okay, and if we have time today, I will show you. So now this is how to tell the browser how many columns you want. Hold on. This is how you tell the browser how many columns you want. You use something called grid template columns. Okay, so I would rather teach you the fraction option. All right. So you want the columns are like in the browser sees them as fraction. One column is one fraction, this column is another fraction, this column is another fraction. So if I tell the browser that I have two grids, two columns that I'm looking for, I want two of them to have the same equal fraction. All right. So I'll tell the browser, give me one FR, one FR. Okay. If I run this, the browser will give me two. Can you see it? Two equal columns, and I'll show you how it's equal. Just watch what I'm doing. Let's assume I had a third element here. That means that means I want three columns. Let's assume I want three columns so that you understand. So let's assume I want three columns. You see, the browser is only giving me two columns because I said I want two. But if I now add a third one, sorry, if I add a third one and I run it, you see it becomes three. It becomes three. And I guarantee you that they have the same spacing between them. Do you understand?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
All right, fine. So the next thing you can do again, this is not okay, let me not say it's not compulsory, is that you want to give it a background. I'm going to give it a background so that we'll be able to a background color. I'm going to give it a background color of black. Black. Okay. But the problem with the black is that because the write-up is black, it's going to be showing it's not going to be showing at all. Let me try to change the text to white if that will work. I really doubt if it will work. But let's try. Okay, it did work. Alright, so this is it. This is just giving it a background. We're also going to give it a padding. I've taught you about padding here.
Yes.
Padding and matching. So now we're going to give it a padding. Where is it? Yeah. Or maybe I should just use this color that they used here instead of the black. Let me go and copy that color. But see what happens when I give it a padding. You see, now it's bigger. I've created the padding around it. Okay. Let me give it that color that they gave it here. This blue color. So I run it. Let me leave the color as black. Black is the default color. So now if I run it, this is what it will give me. Okay, so I want to make it only two columns because what you're going to be building is two columns. So let me make it easier for you. Let me remove this one. Okay, so if I run it, now we have to believe it or not, this grid system is what we use to create this. It's a grid system. This is where Fin is. This is where Itoan. It's just that I put a picture where Itoan is. So just watch me as we do it. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is that you want to style the individual elements. So now, because it's not like I'm not giving the two of I'm not giving I'm going to give the two of them the same styling. Do you understand? Because I'm not really putting anything inside. So I'm just going to give it the same styling. But when you want to do yours, don't give it the same styling because you might have to style it differently. All right. But I'm going to give the two of them the same styling here. So you're going to style the individual item like this. So we're going to select the grid. See? So you select the grid item. So you give it a background color, right? Let's see the background color that is giving it. Okay, so they gave it a background color, they gave it a border, 1px solid, don't bother. They gave it a padding, they gave it a font size, and you can see the text is at the side, is on the left. But now they want to take it to the center. So do you understand these properties here?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the background color this background color you are seeing here. This is it here. You can decide that you want it to be white. You can decide that you want it to be any color. All right. And so you see now it's almost giving you the two things. Do you understand? So because this border that is here, 1px solid border, that's the one line. I mean it's also here, but because of the padding and everything, it's not as obvious, but you can see it in the middle that there's a border surrounding it. That's the border. Then of course they gave it a padding. So this you see this blue thing around here. Let me make that this padding bigger. So you see this blue thing around here, this is the container. Do you understand? Why this is the grid itself. That's why two of them are having different paddings and different background color. Because one is just the container and one is the grid itself. Do you get? One is housing the grid, one is the grid itself. Let me make it 10. Okay. So this is it. And basically, this is pretty much all you need to create a grid. So when you now come here, you now see this one. This one is an entirely different ball game. I don't know if I should teach you this one or do it till tomorrow. Let me see. 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 Okay. Header, header, header. Okay. You see this one, they didn't even give it the same class. So they give it header, menu, there's the main, there is the right, and then there is the footer. That's what they give it, and they give it differently because they know they are going to style it differently. So item 1, they selected it and they said, okay. Okay, so the item 1, they selected it and they told the browser that, you know what, you see this place, this grid area is going to be header, this area like this is going to be header. The reason why it is long, the length of it is because when it came to the grid template area, they made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the entire thing from here to here is 6. I think the entire thing actually is 12. The highest you can put is 12, if I'm not mistaken. The highest you can put is 12, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, what they just did here, this one is a bit more complicated, to be very honest. It's going to be hard to explain. So let me just stick to the simple one for now. When you've gotten a grasp of the simple one, we'll come there. So we're going to, because I'm sure you can tell that it's a bit complicated. So, where is it? Okay, this is what we want to turn it into. Okay, so currently your page is like this, right? But we're going to change it into this using the grid, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so I don't have a code to use. Let me see. I have to look for things to put in grid 1 and grid 2. Okay, I'm just going to put this right up. Let me just put this right up because I don't want to go. Okay, I can copy the code actually. Okay, let me copy the code from here so that you see it. Okay, your code is looking something like this. So right now your code is looking something like this. I don't know why it's showing like this. So. Okay, your code is probably looking something like this. Let me copy it. There is a div class, there is a container. So I'm not going to copy it from the container. I'm going to copy it from the H2 because this container is going to be my grid container. Since I'm putting it in a grid, it's going to be my grid container. So I'm going to copy the entire code like this. Okay, I'm not going to copy. Okay, yes, I'm going to copy it like this. So if I paste it in the, it's not copying. Okay, copy. Right. If I come and paste it here, let me first delete this. Left the class. Okay, you're back, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, hello.
Yes.
Okay. So, what's wrong with this thing? It's not charging. What's it shaking? Sorry, I'm trying to. So this is almost how your page looks now. It's just that your page has more. What is it called? It has more styling. If I copy the CSS now, the background, everything will shift to the middle. But basically, this is what your page looks like, right? It's just that it has styling, right?
Yes.
Answer now. Let me know if I have it right.
Yes. Yes.
Are you there?
Yes.
You're not answering. I said that's how your page looks like, right?
Yes. It looks like that.
Okay, no problem.
I'm
No
talking,
problem.
but I don't know. You're not hearing me.
I'm going to. So it will not look like magic in your eyes. You don't know what?
I'm
I can hear you
talking,
now.
but
I wasn't hearing you before, but now I can hear you.
okay.
I'm hearing you now. What did you say?
I said I was saying okay, but you were not hearing me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But now I can hear you. So this is how your page looks now. Okay, I can't believe I don't carry the container. Okay, no wonder. Okay, so let me put a container here. Div class is equals to container. Okay, I need to go down. I need to put div. All right. So if I run this, exactly, this is exactly the page. So what we are going to do is that, well, I'm going to take out the image first of all. I'm going to remove the image from here. Okay, I'm going to remove the image, cut it. If I cut it and I run it, so now the image is no longer there. So I'm going to go to my grid that I want to do. I'm going to put this image, I'm going to put this grid here. I'm going to put it in the second div. Did you see where I put it? Let me do it again. I'm going to call this one left grid. Or let me say, I'm going to call it image grid because the only image that is there. So I'm going to call it image grid. All right. And so what I am going to do is that I am going to put the image in between, inside the div here. That's what I'm going to put. I'm going to put the image inside here. So the image is inside the image grid like this. Okay, and so you can see the closing div back. All right. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So if I run this now, you can see it. So the thing I'm going to do is that, okay, let me remove all this styling that I did first of all. Or let me not remove it. I'm going to remove this background color first of all because I don't want it there. Okay. So I'm also going to remove the padding because I don't need the padding. So let me run this. Okay, so exactly what I want. So I'm going to put the picture here. I'm also going to make the picture bigger because yes, in this place it can be bigger. So I'm going to remove the height. Uh, so now let me run this. Ah, no, it's too big. Okay, let me make it smaller. Let me make it 500. Okay, so now this is the picture I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the rest of the code, all this right up, and I'm going to put it in the other side. I'm going to put it in the right side, and I'm going to give that one a class of right grid because it's in the right, and then that, and I'm going to put it inside the second grid. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put it inside the second grid. So two of them are in a grid now. You can see the container is still there. Yeah, so I'm going to put it like this. So if I run this now, let me see. Okay, I don't know why it's going down. There's a mistake somewhere. So hold on. Grid item. Let me name this one right grid first. Hold on, I'll figure out what was wrong now. Right grid. So there is a mistake somewhere. Okay. Okay, there are two divs here. It's supposed to be one. So this was a mistake. Exactly. So that's this. Of course, this container, everything inside the container. So the closing tag for this container div is going to be here because you must close all your divs. So this is the closing div for the container. You can see it's at the end. Let me make this bigger. Okay. So for the where is it? Let me remove this one, I beg, because we don't need it. So this is the container div. Okay, so I'm explaining the code. This is the container div. So we're putting everything inside the container. So of course the closing div will be here at the last place, right? Then you now have this second grid in a div here, right? The right div. So if you scroll to the end of the code, this is going to be the closing div. But there were two here before. That's why there was an error. That's why the code was not doing well. So I had to delete one because you only need one. And then this is the image grid. And then this is the closing div for the image grid. This one is for the container, of course. So now if you run it, we already have a sense of it's beginning to look almost like what I want it to look like, which is this. Okay, so we're still styling. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So instead of disturbing my brain and trying to figure out the first thing, the most important thing that we have told the browser to display that container as grid, and that's giving us the two. And of course, we have said two column, that's giving it to us. So we don't need this anymore. Instead of styling grid item, what we'll be styling is image grid and right grid. That's what we'll be styling. So let me check how they styled this one. Okay. Okay. So I'm looking for the grid. Oh, this is a lot though. Oh, this was styled using CSS libraries. Okay, fine. No problem. Let me just ask ChatGPT. Let me see. I should be able to do this. So what we want to do is that we want to put a gap in between here, and we want to move. Mm, Let me just use ChatGPT to. And I just realized that I didn't even touch on grid gap and all of that because they didn't touch on it here. Anyway, we still have tomorrow to do that. Put your project in a grid. Okay. But I will teach you about grid gap now. But hold on. How to sign in. I don't know why it's taking so long. My network. I give a grid gap of 20 px. So a grid gap is the gap in between grids. Sorry. If I give a grid gap of 20 px, there is a small, although you're not seeing it, let me remove it. So if I run it without the grid gap, you can see. But when I put a gap, it just shifts a little. It's just a small tiny space that I kept. But I want to position this thing in the center. So hold on. I can't remember the exact element for it. Why is this thing doing like this now? Mm, Sorry, hold on, because this has to work. Okay, let me do it on. Let me use another browser. Okay, I think it's doing now. Why is it taking so long? Okay, so I'm going to tell ChatGTP to do it just to make, because I don't want to rack my brain. If I'm very honest. They're going to put me through. I'm just looking for the easy way out. Mm, 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 mm. So this one was built with Bootstrap. It was Bootstrap. Yeah, with Bootstrap. So where is it now? Ah, Where's the okay? I don't know if it's my network, but you can hear me, right?
Yes,
What's the clapping sound, please?
I just clicked it and it started making sound.
Just hold on. I don't know if it's Chrome or no, my system is hanging. Oh, work now. Why is it hanging like this? Everything is just hanging. I don't understand why. And okay, I think this is finally working. Okay, since we cannot get a hold of that, oh my god, I need it otherwise. It's just very easier this way. I don't want to go through the process of doing it from the beginning. Okay,
Excuse me, the generator wants to go off, so you need to put the fuel so that it will not finish.
okay. So you want to? Are you asking for permission or what?
Yeah,
Okay,
or 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 it has already fixed, so it's not going off again.
okay. So hold on. Mm, okay, let me copy this. Where you safe? I think we're here. So this is the so one fraction work fraction. Let me run this. It's supposed to be container. I'm coming. I'll explain what I'm doing. I just want to be sure I have it right first.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So yeah, this is what I was looking for. Let me see if I remove the height. I don't think we need the height. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think we need the height. But this is it here. So I'll explain for the answer because we have removed the picture, We don't need these HR lines again, these double lines. They look weird there, these double lines. So we're going to remove it. See, now that looks better. Okay, so now it looks better, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So so what we just did was what I've already taught you before. We just the container, we told you to display grid. We did the grid template columns 1FR, 1FR. We sorry. We did the 1FR. So we just said text align center. That's why everything now is in the middle. We also justify item. Let me see if do we need to let me remove all this first because I don't think they are needed. So if I run it. Mm, okay, yeah. Okay. And you also hold on. Okay, that's how the write-up is. But I want it to look better than that. I want it to look like this. So I'm going to justify content to the right. I'll explain what I'm doing, Fee. I'm just trying to get it first.
Okay,
Um, this is for the container. Let me see. Then left grid. Going to justify content. Maybe we do need all those things. So let me see. I can't remember how I got this one to write like this. I have to check it again. I don't know how I got all of them to be like that. So let me check it. So how did they this was built with bootstrap. That's the container, that's the row. Okay. Mm, mm, okay, I didn't give it any special styling. Justify content here. So let me see if I try to justify content for let me see. Let me see, align to the left. Now it's hanging again. Let me see. Sorry, my laptop is hanging. Why are you hanging? What is this? Did I do something wrong? I think it's back. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So since I can't figure it out, before you come tomorrow, I'll be able to figure it out. Let's just leave it like this for now. All right. So basically, what I just did was that I put it in a container and I told it to display the container grid and I did the column and I did the text align. So when you look at it, it looks like this. All right. So there are other styling. Of course, if you want to keep your background color the way it is, that's up to you. I don't even know if those styles will still work, but this is basically how you put it in a grid. All right. Do you have any questions? Do you need me to explain anything?
No,
Are you sure? Because if I give you your assignment now that you should go and turn your what's it called? Your assignment to a grid, will you do it? Will you be able to do it? We can also remove this line on the bottom, this HR line. Where is it? Let me remove this. Okay. Okay. So this is in the middle, this is in the middle, they're all in the middle. Okay. So you say you don't have any questions.
no. I'll check the video,
Will you be able what?
the live stream.
You watch the live stream, is that what you said?
Yes.
I'm coming, I'm trying something. Justifies align items left. Mm, I'm coming, I'm just trying something. Not that I think it will work. Okay, so don't worry. So let me just explain it again. It's pretty easy. What I don't know will happen is what happens when you put all your old stylings, like all the stylings that used to be there. Let me go and try it because this is it here. So let me try it so that you will know what style to remove. Mm, so obviously you're not going to need that body anymore. So it's going to be like this. So I'm going to need the H2, the H3 section. I don't think I need the image. I don't need the image, but I do need the button. Okay, so I'll just add only the button. So you have to let go of some of your stylings because you might not need them again. Okay, okay. So I guess it's looking better now. For me, I won't put a background color. I'll leave it like this. But that's up to you. So you can design it anyhow you want to design it. If I carry, let me copy the button. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, we still have time. Okay, well, we still have time. So I'll go over it again. Let me
Okay.
copy the button. I just want to copy the button. So it would be like so. Most probably, when you put it in a grid, right? These are probably the only stylings you'll be needing. You might not use except although you can try it and see it, but it might not come out nicely. Okay, so it's almost looking like all this space is too much. Do you have two headings in your own or you only have one?
Is it in the
Hmm?
VS Code?
Yes, in the VS Code. Do you have two stylings or you only have one?
I think it's two.
Okay, no problem. So this is your code, all right? Let me start it again so that there are no confusions. So this is how your code is looking with the CSS and everything, although your CSS is in a different file. So the first thing you want to do, you already have a container. So the first thing you want to do, you want to open a div. Okay. Like I said, we are going to make this our container like this, right? And so the next thing you want to do is that you want to open the left grid, the one that has all the right up. So you open a class, div, class, and you do left grid. So let's assume, okay, let's do it this way. Let's assume that we still want to leave our styling. We still want to, because if you look at your code, this container, it has its own styling, right? It has its own background, right?
Yes.
That is where your green background is and all of that. Okay, so fine. So let's now assume that we want to keep that styling. Let's now open another class for the grid. So we'll now say, okay, div is equals to class. We'll now give it a name of grid. Okay, class is equals to grid. So grid will now be the container name, grid container, grid container. Okay, and then you close the brackets back. So because we are wrapping everything inside here, right? So you scroll down to the end and make sure you go and close that div at the end. So because there is a container, this container, are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
This container came first, okay? So it's the one that is going to be last. This one is going to be on top of it. That's the closing div. So you're going to put that closing div on top of it because the container is the first container is on top. Do you understand? So everything is balanced now. So the next thing you want to do, still on your code, right? You now want to divide the grid into two. Your left grid. So you know your left grid is all your right up, which is all this thing here. The picture is not here, so we're just going to do a div class. Sorry. So we want to do the left grid now, where all the right up is. When I say left grid, this is what I mean. This is the left grid, where all the right up is. This is it. It's the left grid, and this is the right grid. So you already know that when you have a container, the container, when you have a grid, there must be a container, and you must have your different grid. So this is our grid container, and now I am doing the grids. So we're going to have a div. You understand, right? Class is equals to. Do you understand?
Yes.
Left grid. All right. So we're going to close this. So because the picture is not here, so everything here is what is going to be inside that left grid. I'm going to close it. I'm going to close it at the bottom because the bottom is the end of the grid. You understand that these two is for the two containers that are up, right? So all these ones will they are always going to be the last. So you're going to cover, because if I check here, mm, if I check here, the the left grid stops at the bottom. Do you understand? Everything down to the bottom. Yeah, so I'm going to stop at the bottom, the left. I'm going to stop the left grid at the bottom here. So I'm going to close it. Okay. So the picture is what is going to be in the image grid. So you open the image grid, the div for the image grid. Class is equal to image grid, and then we'll now close it. All right. So you also need a closing div for this one, right? Sorry. So this is where the picture is going to be. This is the grid for the picture. So let me go and copy the picture and put it here. So this is the picture. I want to copy the picture. Okay, so I'll copy it and go and put it here. Okay, so I'll put it here. So now let me run this code first. Let me see what it will give me. Okay, so if I run the code, okay. So because I have not told this I've not told the browser anything. See, the picture is just under, it's just under. We have not told the browser to display it as a grid. All right. So now let's go and tell the browser to display it as a grid. So we're going to add. So our CSS. I know that not everything on my CSS is what is on your CSS, but that doesn't matter. Just focus on your own CSS. So now I'm going to select the grid container because that's what we have there. I'm going to select the grid container. Okay. And then, sorry, hold on. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not what I want. Sorry. I'm going to select the grid container. Oh, God, it still happened. Oh, it didn't happen. It still happened. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to select the grid container and then we're going to tell the browser to display its grid. Sorry. So we're going to say display. Let me go and copy it from here back. So we're going to say display grid and then align items to the center like this. Okay. So display grid, put everything in the center. Also give it a fraction. So if I run this code, let's see how it looks like. Okay. Okay, so you can still have your styling if you want to have your styling. This picture doesn't, let me increase the width of that picture. Picture is too slim. So let me give it a width of 500 too. So let me run that. Still too slim. Sorry. 350, 350. Okay, so just ignore my picture. But if you run it, this is how it's going to be look like, right? So maybe you can still keep your styling if you want to, but this is how it looks like. I'm just trying to make that picture look better. I don't like it, to be very honest. 500, 650, 01.
It's still slim.
Is what?
The picture is slim.
Yeah, it's slim, and I don't like it. I'm trying to change it, but since it's not working, I'm going to leave it alone. But yes, this is what we have. So I'm just going to, where is it? Okay. So we have done the grid, we have done the text align center, blah blah blah. So you can decide whether or not you want to leave, like if I remove this container styling, if I remove it like this, cut, and I run it, so it will just look normal. It will look like what I have there. Okay. You can just remove these lines like this. But one thing I'm struggling with, I want this picture to come down a little because the picture is too up. But it doesn't really matter, you can leave it like that. Okay. So this is going to be your assignment. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Since we still have time, let me go ahead and explain some grid properties to you that I did not explain before. So we have done all this one. We have talked about this one. We've talked about grid, display grid. So what is inline grid? Let us see that. To make an inline grid container. Okay, so this is what an inline grid look like, and this is what a grid will look like. Do you see the difference? An inline grid is just smaller. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Do you see, sir? Okay. So this is an inline grid. So maybe you want a smaller kind of grid. This is how it will look like. All right. Okay. Cool. So what other properties again? Grid columns. I told you before that these are called columns. When one column, two column, three, column one, column two, column three, right? And that's how
Yes.
you tell the browser how many columns you want. If you want four, you do one FR, one FR, one FR, one FR. One thing I should also show you again is that sometimes it can, for instance, hold on, let me use this. Maybe you want the middle column to be bigger, right? You can do that. Let that thing finish loading first. So those are the columns, and these are the rows: row one, row two, row three. I made I made a mistake. Oh wow. Sorry, it's loading. Okay. Hold on, please. Okay, that's not a problem then. Let me not rush into it. Let me show you how to make this is making one fraction longer. Why is it slow like this now? Like if I want to make this middle column bigger, I can just tell you can also use something called auto. It's the same thing, but I just prefer the fraction system because it's better.
Okay.
One fraction, two fraction, then one fraction. So what that means is that this one will be times two of this and this. Do you see it? You can also make this
Yes.
one, maybe you want the two last ones to be bigger. So now these two, they are bigger than this one. So depending on what you want. Why is this thing not going? Okay. So we talked about columns and we talked about row. So this is row one, row two, row three. Okay. So now this is row gap, the gap underneath each rows, and you can change it. You have column gap, you have row gap. So this is row gap. This why this one here is column gap, row gap, column gap, and you just have normal gap. So let's see the three of them in action if we can. Let's start with column gap. Okay, so now you see this one, they kept a column gap of 50 px. That's why you see a column gap like this. If I remove this column gap and I run it, there won't be any gap in between. But if I put this column gap and I say 50, let's make it 20. 20 will be smaller, obviously. See, 20 is smaller. So let's put a row gap now. Let's put a row gap, row, row gap. Why am I making mistakes like this? Row. So let's give a row gap of 20 px. See, and now you have a space in between. Did you see? So I think if you let's try to use only gap, and let's say we want to give it a gap of 50 px, because I think two of them is combined in gap, if I remember correctly. See? So maybe you want to give it a row and a column gap and you don't want to write the two of them at once. You can just write gap. It will work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Exactly. So it will work. So that's about row gap and gap. Okay. So you also have something called grid lines. There are column lines and there are row lines. Of course, when it's like this, when it's going down like this is a column line, this is a column line, this is a column line, this is a row line, this is a row line. So it is those lines that you use to it's those lines that you use to create different shapes that you want to. For instance, now look at this one, this item one, you can see that they selected it. All right. And they now said grid column starts. So this is 1, 2, 3. So it starts at 1 and ends at 3. This is going to be very complicated for you. But are you following?
Yes.
If I say I want this column 3 to be like that, let me change it to item 3 here. Okay. And I do it. See, this is how it will look like. But this was item 1. Okay. Well, you might not really need all this one, so let me not go into too much details. Just know how to do just know how to do the grid. That's the most important thing for now. All right. So um, we're going to do. I think tomorrow after you have done your, if you can get your assignment and you can do the grid by yourself, try to do the grid by yourself. You can always come back and watch this video. The next thing we're going to work on will be what's it called? Will be your navigation bar. This navigation bar. Uh-uh, I don't have a picture anymore there. Wow, something is wrong with my picture. Okay, okay. So we're going to build this navigation bar here. That's what we're going to work on tomorrow. All right. So for today, I think we've done enough so that you have time to do your homework. Let me let you go. Go and turn your project into a grid. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I'll see you tomorrow then. Do your assignment, okay? Any
Okay.
questions?
No.
All right then. Thank you.